Okay, so spread them. No. I made them by groups intentionally. Here, take one. Let's see here.
Okay.
Okay, each one has five. Each one has 5 pages. But
One of each.
give me them. Give me the whole thing. Give me the whole thing. Let's do this all over again.
One of every page. Is any idea?
Yeah. Okay, so there's page 2 out of 9, and then there's 7 out of 9, 8 out of 9, 9 out of 9. Okay, you all have those. And then there's page 1 out of 1. Okay.
1, 2, 7, 8, 9.
What?
1, 2, 7, 8,
No. Again, it was page 2 out of 9.
Oh.
Okay. Then there's 7 out of 9, 8 out of 9, 9 out of 9, and then there's page 1 will be the last. You all got that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Whoever is missing a copy. Okay, so then the rest of you can share, okay? Because, let's see, maybe I have one more. Well, this one I was keeping for myself, so. Okay? At least every pair has one.
So the first page would be 7.
No, 2 out of 7. 2 out of 9. Okay? Is the first one, yeah.
The second would be 7.
The second one will be, yeah. All right, so, okay, Chaim, I'm going to read the 1, 2, 3, the fourth one. Okay, this is from, quoted from the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. I'm quite sure most of you heard of him, right?
Alright, so the Jews, however, are beyond all doubt the strongest, toughest, and purest race at present living in Europe. They know how to succeed, even under the worst conditions, in fact, better than under favorable ones, by means of virtues of some sort, which one would like nowadays to label as vices owning above all to a resolute faith which does not need to be ashamed before a modern idea. It is certain that the Jew, if he desires, or if they were driven into it, as the anti-Semites seem to wish, could now have the ascendancy, made literally the supremacy over Europe. That they are not working or planning for that end is equally sure. The resourcefulness of the modern Jew, both in mind and soul, is extraordinary.
Okay, up to here? It's clear? Okay, the next page. The next page, see the 1, 2, 3, the fourth one. It is by Leo Tolstoy. It was a Russian philosopher, writer. Okay, y'all have it?
Yeah.
Go.
What is the Jew? What kind of unique creature is this whom all the rulers of the nations of the world have disgraced, are crushed and expelled and destroyed, persecuted, burned, and drowned, and who, despite their anger and their fury, continues to live and to flourish? What is the Jew? What is the Jew whom they have never succeeded in enticing with all their enticements in the world, whose oppressors and persecutors only suggest that he deny and disown his religion and cast aside the faithfulness of his ancestors? The Jew is the symbol of eternity. He is the one who for so long has guarded the prophetic message and transmitted it to all mankind. A people such that can never disappear. The Jew is eternal. He is the embodiment of eternity.
Okay, and remember, all these quotes are from Gentiles. Okay, the way they understand what the Jewish people are, what they're representing. Okay, the next page. Okay, most of you weren't here, so we'll go through this again. Okay, the first one. The first one is from quote from Hitler. Okay, by his personal doctor, who wrote. Collected all these quotes and then wrote a book called Hitler Speaks. Okay, and this is a direct quote from Hitler himself. Hi.
The struggle for world domination is between me and the Jews. All else is meaninglessness. The Jews have inflicted two wounds on the world: circumcision for the body and consciousness for the soul. I come to free mankind from their shackles. When over long periods of time of human history I scrutinized the activity of the Jewish people, suddenly there arose in me the fearful question whether inscrutable destiny, perhaps the reasons unknown to us poor mortals, did not, with eternal and immutable resolve, desire the final victory of this little nation.
Go
The
on.
Ten Commandments have lost their validity. Consciousness is a Jewish invention. It is a blemish like circumcision.
Okay.
Or what is this? Conscience is a Jewish invention.
Yeah. Any questions about this?
This is how Hitler justifies his actions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saying that conscience is an illusion.
Right. Okay. He realized with his pure wickedness the essence and the truth of what the Jewish people and Judaism is standing for, and that is, so they're standing between him and his goal, his purpose, okay, of turning this world back into anarchy and a jungle, okay, where the strong survives, the weak die, and okay. The next page. Wait a minute. No. The same page, the bottom one, and then it continues to the next page.
Alright, the Jews have played an all-important role in history.
Okay, so basically, this is a historical professor, history professor called Nikolai Berdayev, and he was in Russia in 1930s. Okay.
The Jews have played an all-important role in history. They are preeminently an historical people, and their destiny reflects the indestructibility of the divine decrees. Their destiny is too imbued with the metaphysical to be explained either in material or positive historical terms. I remember how the material interpretations of history, when I attempted in my youth to verify it by applying it to the destiny of peoples, broke down in the case of the Jew, where destiny seemed absolutely inexplicable from the materialistic standpoint. And indeed, according to the materialistic and positive criterion, this people ought long ago to have perished. Its survival is a mysterious and wonderful phenomenon, demonstrating that the life of the people is governed by a special predetermination, transcending the process of adaptation expounded by the materialistic interpretation of history. The survival of the Jews and their resistance to destruction, their endurance under absolute peculiar conditions, and the fateful role they played in human history are these points to the particular mysterious foundations of their destiny. The historical not only represented man's external relations, but that it might also reveal the very noumenon and essence of his being. The peculiarity of Jewish destiny consists in its incommensurably with either the pre-Christian or the Christian era. Scientific criticism applied to traditional biblical history can neither discredit the universal role played by the Jews nor effect a satisfactory explanation of their mysterious destiny. Nor does the criticism grapple with the absolute peculiar tie existing between the Jews and the historical and their extraordinary intense feeling for history.
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah, no comments on this. Okay. I have a bunch more, but so let's see if. But I couldn't make copies of them. Let's see. Okay, so that what you have. Okay, that's there's one last one that we have to go through. Okay, this is I think the most impressive one. This is by Mark Twain.
All right, one by Mark Twain.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if the statistics are right, the Jews constitute but 1% of the human race. It suggests a nebulous, dim puff of stardust lost in the blaze of the Milky Way. Properly, the Jew ought hardly to be heard of, but he is heard of has always been heard of. He is as prominent on the planet as any other people, and his commercial importance is extravagantly out of proportion to the smallness of his bulk. His contributions to the world's list of great names in literature, science, art, music, finance, medicine, and abstruse learning are also a way out of proportion to the weakness of his numbers. He has made a marvelous fight in the world in all the ages, and he has done with it with his hands tied behind him. He could be vain of himself and be excused for it. The Egyptian, the Babylonian, the Persian rose, filled the planet with sound and splendor, then faded to dream stuff and passed away. The Greek and the Roman followed and made a vast noise, and then they are gone. Other people have sprung up and held their torch high and for a time, but it burned out, and they sit in twilight now, or have vanished. The Jew saw them all, beat them all, and is now what he always was, exhibiting no decadence, no infirmities of age, no weakening always was.
Of his parts.
No weakening of his parts, no slowing of his energies, no dulling of his alertness or his aggressive mind. All things are mortal but the Jew. All other forces pass, but he remains. What is the secret of his immortality?
Okay. Clear? All right. So that's with those copies. Now,
May I ask you, why do you think the Jews have remained for so long?
why they what?
Why we have survived for so long?
Chaim, can you sit back? So I can sit.
Because if we looking at demographics of Israel, it seems like the high tech and culture we venerate is done by more secularized Jews.
Mm-hmm.
So what in the philosophy there contributes to it?
To what?
To the continuation, because it seems like it's those with an eye still towards the spiritual, but also grounded in the material, that are the subject of this veneration.
Well, this is the whole. We're asking a very big question. Basically, the whole first essay of this book is answering that. Try to summarize that and make it short. This creation called Israel, okay, this soul that Hashem created as the essence and the purpose of this world, is eternal. Okay, this nation is eternal, and it cannot be eliminated, nor by other Gentiles nations, nor by natural causes or I don't know, exile or assimilation. Okay, this nation is here to stay not because we want to or don't want to or feel like it or don't feel like it, or aware of it or not. That doesn't matter. Okay, what matters is Hashem created this nation. Okay, and He created it with His own will and terms, conditions, criterions that cannot be changed, cannot be removed, cannot be damaged. Okay, doesn't mean that this nation cannot be punished and wasn't punished through history for their immoral actions. But as a nation, as in part of this chain of history from before creation until the end of days, this nation will always be present because it is Hashem's will. That's the bottom line. Okay, that's the secret. You wanted to ask something? Okay. We are not. We're not just a nation. We're not a nation among nations. We are the chosen nation. Okay, we're the chosen nation where He created us as the nation that has the ability, the talent, the characteristics, the tendency to receive the Torah, to and has the ability to give commentaries of the Torah, has a responsibility to do so, and has the role to be the luminaries, to be the role model for the rest of the nations. That's our destiny, that's our goal, that's our purpose, at least main one of them. And as long as we're not doing that, then we see the consequences. Okay? Or we're exiled, or there's famine, or there's wars. Okay, that's all. Most of it is a result of that. Okay, but the bottom line is the reason for our eternal existence is what we just said. Okay. Okay. I wanted to quote a few more quotes. I didn't find translation for them, so I'll translate them from Hebrew. Yeah. So there's another quote from Nietzsche in one of his books, Beyond the Good and Evil. I think that's the translation. He quotes there. He states the following. He says he's asking, what have the Jews give Europe? What was their contribution to Europe? And then he said that they gave the awesome moral push, meaning the this eternal demand for this journey of ethical dilemmas and questions, issues. Meaning the more and he calls it the most let's say elevated or greater part of life. Okay, so that's what he says that the Jews contributed to Europe. Then there's another quote from Nietzsche, if I find it. Let's see. Okay. And then, there's another book by Nietzsche. He says, the great day will come, and the chain of history and the events of this strong nation that appears in the greatness of its individuals and actions in such a way that the rest of the nations, the great nations who are standing for culture and a civilized world, who are weak and have lack of experience, will never reach that nation. That great day will be revealed in the vengeance and blessing of Israel to all those nations as well, and the all ancient God of Israel will be happy in His creation and His nation, and we all will be happy with Him. And that's Nietzsche, as a German, if you want to call him atheist philosopher, but this doesn't mean that he's that atheist. Let's see what one more. Okay. There's one more by Nietzsche. He says he didn't have tolerance towards the New Testimony, what's called, and the Christian God. So he used to say, the Christian God died, I was in his funeral. Okay, that's and comparing the Old Testament to any other book. So he says, in the Jewish Old Testament, this is the book of divine justice. Appear people, things, lectures, speeches in such a great style that there's nothing in the literature of Greek, India that can come close to it. And you stand in awe and fear and respect in front of the traces of what man used to be. It says the taste that you taste of the Old Testament is the criterion of what's great and what is shallow. Creating ideals and transferring values that there are nothing like them on this planet. Okay, so there were people, although they're Gentile, that were able to identify the greatness and the uniqueness of the Jewish nation. Okay, all right. So back to the book. We're on page 74. In the dialogue between the rabbi and the king of Kuzari, the rabbi wanted to prove to the king of Kuzari that the Jewish nation are what?
170.
No, 74. Okay, so the rabbi wanted to prove to the king of Kuzari that the Jewish nation are superior and on top of rest of the nations. In order to prove that, the rabbi was focusing on the natural world, okay, showing through nature that even in our reality in nature there's hierarchy, okay, and he proved that by saying that there's the most primitive level is the inanimates, okay, on top of that is plants, on top of that animals, and on top of that human beings, okay. And then the rabbi was asking him, is there anything beyond the human beings? So the king of Kuzari, his thought was that the wise people, they're above, okay, but the rabbi overruled that, saying that with all the respect to the wise people, they're still in the same category as human beings. Okay, they're smarter. That's true, but that's to deal with quantity and not quality. Okay, so then the king said, okay, so if that's the case, then there's nothing more superior, more let's say higher in this hierarchy than the human beings. Okay, and then in page 74, in paragraph 41, the rabbi gave his perspective, what is more superior than the ordinary human being. Chaim, are with us? Okay, you can read 41.
41. The rabbi said, let us say we could find a Superman who could walk through fire unscathed, who could go without food and not starve, who would radiate from the face such a bright aura that an eye could not look directly at it, and who would never become ill or weak. And when the Superman will have accomplished his purpose in life, he would die of his own accord at the set time, like someone who lies down on his bed and goes to sleep. And right before his death, this person would know everything that happened in the past and all that would transpire in the future. Would you not agree that this person occupies a separate level from the rest of mankind?
Okay, so first of all, who is he talking about? Okay, Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay, Moshe Rabbeinu, who for 40 days and nights didn't need sleep, didn't need food, didn't need liquid. Okay, so that is emphasizing the point that there's a human being that's not a human being anymore. It's Superman. Okay. However, we asked this question last time that the rabbi wanted to prove that the whole nation are in that level. But in this answer, he just showed that it's Moshe Rabbeinu. So, you know what the answer is. Okay, so open up in essay number 2. Okay, and that will be in page 219. Okay, and paragraph 56. Okay, we'll read through there short part. So basically, it's talking about comparing in Psalms how the Son is great, but the Torah is even greater, and on top of that, how it's all related to Am Yisrael. Okay, Chaim? 56, the rabbi said.
Oh, okay. The rabbi said, "See how greatly King David praised the Torah." He begins with a discussion of the sun in the Tehillim. It says, "The heavens relate God's glory." He recounted the sun's encompassing light, its purity, its straight course, and its visible beauty. Immediately afterward, he states that God's Torah is pure and revives the soul, and so on. It was as if he was saying, "Do not be amazed that by these descriptions of the sun, for the Torah is even brighter, more pervasive and ubiquitous, more beneficial and loftier. Were it not for the Jewish people, the Torah would not have been given further."
No.
Oh no! If it were not for the Torah,
Again.
the Jewish people, the Torah would not have been given.
Okay, so you realize what he's saying here. What comes first, Torah or the Jewish people? Okay, go on.
All right. So furthermore, Israel's lofty status was not an outcome of Moshe's merit. On the contrary, Moshe's status was grounded in the merit of Israel. God's love could not emanate without a multitude of descendants of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov present to receive it. God merely chose Moshe as the vehicle to bring his goodness to the people. We are therefore not called the nation of Moshe, but rather the nation of God. As it says, "These are the people of God and the people of the God of Abraham." Let us return to our discussion of the ascetic practices of other religions.
Okay, no. So up to there. Okay. So does that answer our question? Yes or no? What was our question? Nobody? Our question was, if the rabbi wants to prove that Am Yisrael are like Superman or above the nations, then how did you prove that by proving that only one individual from the nation has those abilities? Was the question clear?
Mm-hmm.
What was the answer? We just read.
That the Jewish people came before the Torah.
No, that's true, but that's not what was said. People, you're not with us today,
The
huh?
Torah is pure and revives the soul.
Again, page 219. Again, what's the question?
How is it possible to justify that people of Israel are superior in some sense by only citing the superiority of one man?
Excellent. Please go through 56 again. Focus on, in 56, see where it says number 2? Okay, focus on from there. Answer the question, please.
Torah was given because of there's a Jewish people.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that's one point, but there's another one. Repeat the question, please.
So we're trying to convince the king of why the nation of Israel is superior than perhaps other nations, and the rabbi says well, look, we have Moses, Moshe, who was superior as for X, Y, Z reasons, went through fire and whatnot. But now we need to elevate that to say, we need to now show the claim, how does the superiority of one man who is a member of this nation show actually the superiority of the nation as a whole?
Okay. Now, look clearly, carefully, page 219, paragraph 56, 2. What's the answer?
He provides the answer that Israel's lofty status was not an outcome of Moshe's merit, but that Moshe's was granted the merit of Israel. But that's, I don't know if that constitutes an answer. It's a statement. Doesn't that need proof of itself? Like why is it? How do we know that Moshe's status was grounded in the merit of Israel and not Israel's in the merit of Moshe? Because in the last class we just learned that Moshe is actually above in many senses many members of the Jewish people, because he was, in some sense, what was it, the first? That he, in some sense, from the last class, what did we learn? That Moshe was the most holy. He received the Torah and is therefore the greatest and the first prophet.
Fine, but let me ask this. If we didn't have Moshe Rabbeinu, would we not receive the Torah?
We would have, because God chose the Jewish people, not Moshe.
Okay.
For all the people.
Yes.
And not only that, okay, the Talmud explains that Ezra Sofer, was worthy to receive the Torah instead of Moshe Rabbeinu. Just Moshe Rabbeinu chronically came first. Okay, but it wants to emphasize the point. We don't rely on one individual. Okay, we rely on Hashem, the Torah, the nation. Okay, the nation is unique, and if there's one hero and he doesn't deliver, then we're done. No, what will happen? Okay, Hashem will send another hero, another messenger. Okay, we don't rely on one individual. We don't rely on one prophet. We don't rely, and if he doesn't deliver, then we're gone.
Why do we divide up the Jewish nation into this kind of a caste system of the priestly, the holy priests, the Levites, and the Israelites, if we all share the same merit?
Yeah, but it's Kuzari mentions this about the whole universe and the whole world, but also that it can apply to the Jewish people. It's like a metaphor of the human body. Okay, so the human body is one organism, but still yet there are organs and parts of the body that are more vital than the other, and that but still everyone needs the other. So okay, if one part is representing, for instance, the eyes, and one is the ears, and one is the nose, and one are the legs, one are the feet, or the hands, and you might say the most important is, or rather, the heart or the brain. Okay, but we need all.
But one could also say about the body that the brain does some of the most incredible and important tasks, in some sense, almost something beyond what any other part could do. And wouldn't we be able to say the same of Moshe, that these supernatural abilities of his are something that actually isn't necessarily a property of the rest of the nation?
As that organ, as that part that has that kind of functioning, but that organ, if you isolate it, if you put it independently, it's useless and it can do nothing and can't function with the rest without the rest of that organism. It's like saying, okay, I have a heart. Okay, now what? What am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a brain here. It's in ice. Okay. What am I going to do with it? Okay. So every organ, every part of the body, or of this soul called Israel, has its unique role, unique duty, that without them delivering, then the puzzle is not complete. The mission is not complete.
But it doesn't mean that one property of each part, each part has its own special properties that the other parts don't necessarily share. So couldn't Moshe have properties that the rest of the nation doesn't have?
He might, but still, him alone, it's not. It's useless. Okay,
Yeah,
when Moshe Rabbeinu had the best, if you want, you can call it the best time of his life. Okay, one-on-one with Hashem. Okay, Hashem is teaching him the whole Torah, all the commentaries. Okay, written, oral, whatever you name it. Okay, who can imagine something better than that, right? But that all is in the sake of who?
Israel.
The Jewish people. In order for you now to be the mediator and deliver it to the Jewish people. Now, in the middle of this chevruta, in the middle of this study, the children of Israel down there were fooling around, doing what?
Raising the calf.
Okay, the golden calf, right? So what does Hashem do immediately? Okay, he cuts this study. It says, listen, our study is worthless because the people that are supposed to receive the outcome of the study are fooling around. So our study is done. You go down and you be in charge and do whatever is supposed to be done in order to fix the situation. So
does that not give more evidence to the claim that Moshe is in some sense above the rest of the Jewish people?
he is, but it's all in the sake of and the purpose of the Jewish people. He wouldn't receive those abilities if it wasn't in the sake and the purpose of the Jewish people. Because otherwise, there's no meaning for it.
Right. So, but how do we know that that's the case? That it's it?
There's a commentary discussing this regarding Avraham Avinu, and maybe also comparing it to Noach. Okay, regarding Noach, the Torah says that Noach was ish tzaddik haya b'dorotav. Right, Noach ish tzaddik haya b'dorotav. So the Torah states he was a righteous, and so Hashem sees that he's the righteous of his generation. Okay, there's a disagreement if he was righteous of his generation. If he was in another generation, then he wouldn't be considered righteous. But no matter what, the bottom line is he was stated as righteous, and Hashem reveals himself to him, telling him there's going to be a flood because of their immoral deeds and behavior. Okay, which also was a hint for him to try fix the situation, right? That's why it lasted so long to build the ark. Okay, and it was giving him time and the people to see, what is he building here? What is he doing? Why are you doing this? And like, listen, you have to fix your ways. And he didn't do that, right? Okay, Avraham Avinu. Nothing is mentioned about his righteousness, about his behavior. Nothing. Okay? There's just like this, all of this out of the blue, this prophecy. Hashem reveals himself to him, telling him, go, leave. Okay? Okay, so we know the commentaries and the midrashim discussing that he was seeking for the truth, and he was arguing with his father, and that midrash about him destroying all the those idols and the idol shop. Okay, so but the bottom line is mentioned in the prophets that Hashem chose Abraham. Okay, Abraham was chosen by Hashem. So with all the respect to his characteristics, to his abilities, to his talent, it is not because of that. It's rather because Hashem chose him to be the messenger to deliver whatever Hashem will was. On top of that, it will be easier that he has that kind of talent, but not because of that. Okay. So, okay. All right. With time, okay, we have to stop here. Okay.